Hello and good evening. It is 7 a.m. Bangkok time, which means it must be time for One Shot Wednesdays here, 7 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. I am your host and Dungeon Master, Manny, at GrowedUpGeek on your social medias. And tonight we continue our little kind of spooky summer, as we've been calling it, with a Ravenloft domain of Dread. Also in supplement and support of a fabulous Dungeon Masters Guild product, me and a bunch of other creative people worked on Esmeralda's Dossier of Dread. Link currently in chat. 40 NPCs, one for each domain of Dread. Here on this channel, we are doing the domains that I worked on. So tonight, one of the ones that's very special to me because of my love of the Eberron setting, we're going to do Seer 1313. That domain of Dread, it was the one that I gravitated to first just because I loved Eberron, and the idea of Eberron meeting Ravenloft just absolutely blew me away. So tonight you're going to meet the NPC that's in the book. And yeah, check back in. Like I said, we're going to plug the book a couple of times. It's great. Just helps flesh out your Eberron or your Ravenloft campaign or one shot. Does some work. Some great people wrote on it. It's absolutely amazing. Go check it out. Like I said, link in chat. Now that I am done selling you something, let us get to the amazing players that will be joining us for our kind of concept show tonight. That's basically Murder on the Orient Express meets Dungeons and Dragons meets Anxious Dungeon Master. Before we get to that, let us meet our brave and supportive participants. We have one first timer tonight, so we're very excited to welcome her. Actually, let's start with her, just to put her on the spot in her first time.
Rude.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, we'll give you a lead in and then just throw you into the pool. Hi, meet her, Chrischelle. So yeah, Chrischelle, say hi. She's our first timer this evening. And then go ahead and tell us just a brief kind of overview of the concept of Tabatha.
Okay, so Tabitha Thibodeau is she's kind of like a writer for this like newspaper that like a few people have heard of and the towns that she's been in and stuff like that, but literally no one anywhere else. Her parents were famous adventurers, and she's not really into the whole adventuring thing. She likes to write about it though, and somehow she got caught up in all of it. But it gives her free stories to write about, so it's a win-win.
Um, I hope that her editor extends her deadline this evening because I believe she's going to have a story to tell, good or bad. Thanks for joining us. We welcome you here. I hope you have a good time. Let's go upstairs to somebody who I owe a Dungeons and Dragons session to. Actually, a couple of you guys I owe some D&D to. Who was very excited that he finished the school year last week, and then my internet acted up. Andrew, go ahead and tell us about Scissero, who will be returning to the show, but with some new additions this time.
Yeah, so Cicero is a swashbuckler. So kind of in immaculately dressed, always aims to look better than everyone else, and always aims to strip some people of their hard-earned wealth if he feels like they don't deserve it. Cicero has recently dipped into a little bit of Warlock, always trying to get the upper hand, and he found that some less than savory folks in the underworld might be able to help him out with that.
A rogue going edgy. So original.
Never would have guessed it,
I love my players for just the crazy concepts that they come up with. No, seriously, I'm sure it'll be great. Let us go downstairs to the West Coast. Hopefully it is not too hot where he lives. Our bringer of Brumby and one of our good friends from our Tuesday show. Tenta, tell us about Agathanon?
Agathanon,
All right.
yeah.
Nailed it.
Agathanon is a feral tiefling bounty hunter that he's basically out to make money to support his family, and kind of has a reputation of being a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde sort of person. He's friendly and enjoyable to be around, but when combat comes, he just may bite your throat out.
Just once, I want you to come with to the show with somebody who doesn't bite other people. Just once, you know. We'll see.
No,
Nope. Not gonna happen, bro. Fine. I love you, buddy. You're great. All right. Let us go next to Tim, who is also bringing back a returning character and who I do not currently owe D&D to. Right? We're square. I've made all my commitments with you.
As long as your internet connection maintains its stability tonight, I think we're in good shape.
Okay. Cool.
I am. My name's Tim. I've been playing with Manny since I don't know, a couple of months ago when he started really recruiting for his Discord and for these games.
Did you do the wedding veil? You did the wedding veil with us, yeah?
The wedding veil was the first one shot, right?
Yes, that was the very first one.
So I've been with Manny since the beginning of the one shot series. I'm going to be playing a returning character for myself from another one shot. I'm going to be playing Maeve, who is a Warforged life domain cleric. She will heal you. I'm going to try and play up the robotic and droid-like nature of Maeve. And you will, if we're lucky and you are bleeding out, you will get annoyed with Maeve. And that is completely the intention of Maeve.
D&D C-3PO.
I was gonna say, you Baymax?
I haven't seen that.
Would somebody shut her up? It's, something we should hear tonight. Maeve is a robot, but identifies
General Solo
with the female pronoun. So, one more lady this evening at least.
All right. And we will finish up with my actual very good friend and partner here with me on the channel, my buddy Lewis, affectionately going by Dr. J this evening.
I'm Lewis. Tonight I will be playing Dr. Julian or Dr. J. Just an average human, you know, sad to say.
Average.
Yeah, average human. You know, not your average monk though. He is. I will be playing the Way of Mercy monk for this evening, so I am a very reserved, tall, slender man, almost like myself. You'll see, and you know, maybe has a trick or two up his sleeve. So we'll see.
All right. All right, that is our amazing cast of players this evening. I'm Manny at GrowedUpGeek on your social media. It says right there. Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, dropping dice. You know, if you like what we do here, please give us a like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. We really appreciate it. And tonight, like I said, we are doing a crossover kind of Eberron Ravenloft show. It's titled The Last Passenger, set in the domain of Dread of Seer 1313. And with that, let's go ahead and begin. The five of you stand on a busy Lightning Rail platform in the city of Sharn, in southern Breland, the largest city in all of Corvair. Like most train platforms in Sharn, it's busy, very cosmopolitan. Most people familiar with Eberron will realize that it is not your traditional fantasy tropes. Orcs, goblins, halflings can be anything that they want to be. And so in a very mixed crowd, as everybody kind of waits, time stands above the tracks. It's a beautiful spring day, bright and sunny, slight little breeze, a calm murmur in the streets. The war in Corvair has been over for about 3 years. Kind of a tentative peace has set in. All of the kind of animosity and things remaining from the war still exist, but the nations, at least in appearance, seem to be going about their business as they were pre-war. As the day kind of comes on, the clock keeps ticking down, 6 minutes until the arrival of your train. And we will start with everybody giving us kind of a description of what your character looks like and how they would be waiting for this train. You are fresh from an adventure in the Mournlands, recently destroyed in a cataclysmic event known as the Mourning. A mysterious thing that just wiped out an entire nation in Corvair and was basically the kind of jumpstart to the peace process, as nobody could understand what happened, and nobody dare continue to fight so as to risk it happening to their nation as well. It's once one of the most prosperous nations and beautiful nations of the country. Now it is a vast wasteland where magic does not behave as it traditionally does. The rules of life and death are foggy at best, and truly unknown wonders and horrors just strewn about the landscape. A land absolutely destroyed and nowhere near its once mighty times. You were returning from an adventure there, quite harrowing, and you are on your way back to Wroat, the capital of Breland, where the king has charged you with your task in the Mournlands. It should be about like a 3-hour ride. It's very quick. Wroat is not too far from Sharn. And as the clock sits 6 minutes till your train's arrival, Dr. J, give us a good description of what you look like and what you're kind of doing just hanging out on the train platform waiting for it to arrive.
So you look down the platform and there's a tall 6-foot man in a very long black trench coat that covers from the shoulders completely down, past the knees, almost to the shin. You don't see very much movement under the coat, and above the neck you see a very large brimmed cylindrical hat, almost if you're a fan of video games, like Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat. So you see this very large brimmed hat looking down, and from beneath the cloak you see a wrist pop out and look down, and then go back underneath the coat and look back up towards the board and see, I wonder when this train will get here. I must be back in the city.
Alright. Maeve, it's a beautiful day. I don't know if Warforged appreciate this kind of thing. You do exist in a period in time of Eberron where Warforged are entirely sentient and no longer subjugated as machines of war. Depending on the nation, you've been granted full citizenship, the same as any kind of regular, pardon the term, organic life. There are other Warforged going about their existence that no longer just live to serve. What does Maeve look like, and what are you doing to pass the time waiting for this train?
So Maeve, coming from the recent battle, is mulling over the consequences of her attempts to save lives. She could not understand in the moment why some of her techniques, her healing techniques, were not working properly. So she sits almost with a blank stare, kind of between her legs on a bench, just staring down, contemplating her indecision and inability to act in a manner that saved lives. And she thinks to herself, is this depression? And she listens for the ticking of the clock as she counts down the seconds until her train should be announced.
Is there a butterfly flying towards you? Like the meme.
Yes.
All right.
Is this depression?
Anytime something bad happens to me.
But she kind of gets some insight into diagnoses that she's levied against her patients in the past, but never fully understood herself.
All right, cool. Yes, Warforged, very intriguing in their existential kind of like exploration. I always love it. I think it's a cool thing. All right, let us go down to. All right, Agathanon, go nuts, buddy. I can't wait to hear it. What do you look like, and what are you doing as you wait for the train, which the clock has now ticked down to 5 minutes until its arrival?
5 minutes.
Thank you. I say.
You see me look up and just, I hope they don't do that this entire time.
Agathanon is a feral tiefling. He's 6'5". He's slender but muscular, and he's got wings that are hidden underneath his super billowing black robes and cloak. He's got stained black plate underneath all of that. You can't ever really see it because his hands are always covered, and all you can ever really see is a featureless, blank silver mask with just enough eye hole opening that you could see soft, glowing orange eyes. And he has waist length black hair that he keeps underneath the cloak. And he doesn't appear to have any weapon on him except for a little short sword that he keeps also hidden under the cloak. And he's just kind of standing there, as he does, always looking like there's a little breeze. And he's got his hand out of this cloak, and he's just rolling a little green fireball in it and looking around, kind of bored. You can see that he has a long beard that sticks out from underneath the mask, and he tries not to be serious all the time, but sometimes he kind of lapses into that, and he's just kind of looking around bored and thinking about something to make a joke out of.
On the positive note, I'm pretty sure you're not going to have to worry about somebody sitting next to you on the train. Like, you could just spread out, bro. I think you're going to be fine. All right. The clock has now ticked down to 4 minutes. And the crowd kind of starts to move from the platform, kind of spread out to a little bit closer to the tracks. There are a couple of spaces marked basically specifically where the doors are going to stop when the train comes to a halt, and people start to congregate around there. Scissero, as people start to kind of bunch up a little more closer to each other and maybe a little more tempting of somebody such as yourself, what do you look like with your dark edgelord haircut now? And what are you doing with the sudden kind of angsty urban crowd that might be bumping into each other and a little closer than maybe they should be?
Oh man, you're just providing me with a gift right now, aren't you? No, but Cicero's not super interested in those easy targets. They're not deserving of losing their stuff. So Cicero is as you look over him, he's a half elf, kind of not quite as tall as Agathanon or Dr. J, but kind of, of average height. But he is like almost outrageously dressed. He's got this like bright purple coat on with gold trim. Under that, a immaculate kind of shimmering chain shirt, very tight leather pants, very high leather boots, and kind of shoulder length pin straight hair, kind of tied up in a ponytail.
Yeah, my man is flashy.
Yeah. Always wanting to be the best dressed around, always wanting to draw attention to himself. And so he is trying to look as nonchalant as he can, but kind of leaning back on a chair, feet up. He was playing, just kind of like twirling his lucky coin through his fingers. Got bored of that for a little bit, put that back in his pocket, and picked up a nearby stick. Took one of his a dagger out of his boot and started whittling it down. And he's kind of making just quite a nice, rustic looking small wooden statue.
Very nice. Idle hands being the devil's workshop. Got it. And Miss Tabatha, like I said, it's a beautiful day. You certainly probably have at least a story to tell of your recent adventures, and also just a variety of things to see on the platform that I'm sure probably kind of pique your interest one way or another. What do you look like and what are you doing to pass the time as the clock ticks down to now 3 minutes remaining until the arrival of the train?
Okay,
3 minutes.
you're not gonna do that the whole time, are you? We're not doing that the whole time. Tabitha is she's a snowy white tabaxi who kind of wears this kind of like cloaky like hood over her head. She tries to remain inconspicuous a little bit because, if she doesn't draw attention, then she can sneak around, start writing stuff down without people noticing her. She does happen to wear a lot of jewelry though. She likes the shinier things in life. She's got like piercings like all the way down like her ears and everything, and lots of like kind of necklaces and stuff around her neck, and on her shirt she's got a little badge of the watch that she very obviously earned herself, and was not taken from any other people. Anywho, so she after after since she's gotten on the station, she's kind of had her head down in her papers, kind of writing everything down, stretching the truth just a little bit, of everything that happened, kind of painting herself in a little bit brighter of a light than everyone else, but still kind of including everyone. And occasionally she'll look around and kind of focus in on people, seeing if there's anyone, worth talking to, or if there's anything that seems interesting enough to also include.
Yeah, history is written by the victors. So, and even if you were there, especially, you get to put even better spin on it. So, very nice. So the clock ticks down once again to a minute. The crowd really begins to kind of surge forward. You can tell the experienced people of Sharn know exactly where to stand and don't seem to push. They can kind of gauge how many people are going to fit in the car, if the car is going to be too crowded. And Maeve, you would say that you have like a pretty regimented internal clock.
Yeah, I mean, as the train approaches, I stand up with just enough time to walk across the platform and gracefully glide as if I have uh, taken into account all the randomness and math that these people account for. And I enter the door just as it opens, even before anyone can disembark the train.
Just as your timing tells you that the train should arrive on time, just as you're about to step essentially off the platform and onto the tracks, the clock ticks back up to 3 minutes. An audible groan is heard from the crowd that was basically about to Black Friday their way into the cars. And the kind of pressed group of people begin to kind of disperse a little bit, as if the 3 minutes now allows them a little more breathing room. And the display that registers the time flickers a little bit. Goes from 3 to 8 to 9 to an hour, back down to 2 minutes, back up to 11 minutes, and back down to a message arriving soon.
So Maeve, who has already felt a little bit of unease with her own abilities and is feeling a lack of confidence, pulls her foot back from the empty train platform where she was about to fall into I don't know, into an endless cityscape, perhaps. Pulls her foot back and says, "I'm sorry. I appear to be a bit off today. Please ignore my calculations until further notice."
Up above you, a very sharp kind of reflection as the sun hits the metal sides of an airship. They're wood fashioned with kind of a gold frame, and the light hits the gold on the airship in such a way everybody kind of squints. And just as your eyes kind of adjust to the light, without any sound, warning, or kind of knowledge of yourself. The train is in front of you, and the doors begin to open. People begin to kind of slide in and out. The train car that you're all kind of congregated near is actually the last train car. It is it's the emptiest. Everyone else is kind of standing room only. This one seems to be enough that everybody would have a seat. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys. What do you want to do?
Well, my friends, shall we?
As usual, I'll stand behind the tabaxi and look over her shoulder and try and see what she's writing.
Can I help you?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
All right, you're awfully close to me right now, and I didn't know if you can.
You can kind of hear my breath bounce off against my mouth.
Is he okay?
I'm gonna kind of walk from behind and just kind of like take Agathanon by the arms. Let's go. She doesn't seem to like this.
I can't imagine why.
and then as I move forward, just kind of like the force stops, and I just look up at him. It's like, work with me here. Come on.
But I'm so enjoyable. My presence is so sunshine.
Yes. Well, let's just shine some sunshine into the car, okay? We've been waiting long enough.
Very well. I'll start kind of like old man sidling into the cart, kind of like hunched over so I don't bump my horns.
Okay. As you walk into the train car, it looks unbelievably clean. It's like overall presentation and aesthetic, as best you can tell, is reflective of the current trends in design and style throughout the land of Corvair. The House Orion, who's in charge of the Lightning Rails, likes them to never look antiquated or out of style, as a way of drawing people to the perceived luxury of a Lightning Rail voyage. All the cushions are very nice for what is essentially public transportation. Everything's real nice. A couple of people not in the party kind of settle in to seats, and an automated voice comes over the train car. 1 minute till departure. Please stand clear of the doors.
What a pleasant cadence.
I'm just gonna take a seat next to Agathanon, just look up at him and go, "Hey, I've got a question for you. Now, I'm sorry if this is offensive to your people, but when you tell people how tall you are, do you include the horns?"
No, I stop around the forehead, the hairline.
Ah, okay.
Otherwise,
I shouldn't tell people including my hat, no?
Well, I mean, if you can take your hat off, you probably shouldn't include it.
Okay. Hey, Tabatha.
Yeah.
Now, I hope this isn't offensive to your people. When you tell people how tall you are, do you include the ears?
Well, they are a part of my body.
Well, so are his horns.
Well, I mean, I guess, but he doesn't need the extra inches.
No, it's true.
See?
It's true.
How long are those things?
We'll just reach up and touch 7 inches. They kind of go out and then up and curl over my head.
You see me look over, and you hear me pipe up. It's more like 7 5/8, but who's counting?
I love that.
According to my calculations and referencing Freya's anatomy, a tiefling should be measured by his horns and not his head.
Well, there you go.
Well, then
Thank
I
you,
get
man.
7'3".
The matter is settled.
2 more people get in the last couple of moments before another automated voice comes back on. Doors now closing. Train preparing to depart. Arrival time to Wroat 3 hours. Please enjoy your ride. Bing! And the doors close, and the train kind of lurches slowly forward at first before just unbelievably accelerating at such a breakneck speed as it just careens out of the city of Sharn and into the countryside. That were it not for your familiarity with the area and its geographic features, the landscape, no matter how far in the distance, would just pass like a blur. You are moving so fast. Its technology allows you to not feel like it is. It is a very luxurious and smooth ride that feels no different from a well-suspensioned carriage. You feel no different, no nausea, no G-forces, no nothing, as the train kind of moves. The bright sun of the day lighting the countryside as it just...
I have a vehicular question for you. Is this like an Amtrak train where the passenger trains are behind the bar train, or is it in front of the bar train?
You're in the last car, and this is kind of like the equivalent of coach. Everybody gets their own little, it's first come, first service seating, and then there will be other cars that serve a specific purpose, and also with private rooms for, the kind of more first class passengers.
So I'm gonna be moving so as we finally set off and we're underway, and it seems like we're like fully out of the station, have gotten to our cruising speed. I'm gonna just get up and start making my way towards the bar car.
Okay. As the train begins to move and really gets clear of the city and out into the countryside, just as Dr. J kind of gets up, the door opens and a large orc, kind of in a very nice uniform, little hat, chain, and a little punch thing. Excuse me, sir. Can I see your ticket just so I can punch it real quick?
So you'll see a hand just reach out from the coat, and just the ticket appears, nothing else.
He takes your ticket. It's like kind of a neon green, signifying the day and your destination, and he punches it. Very well, sir. I won't keep you. Goes up to the other passengers in the car, to Maeve. Ticket. Can I see your ticket, please?
Yeah, she kind of presents a flat palm, and then the ticket appears from a small slit in her wrist, like a piece of printer paper.
Nice. Oh, very good. Punches it. Awkwardly doesn't know whether to hand it to her or slide it back into the slot.
She grips it with the same fingers, but then puts it into a slot in her other wrist.
Thank you. Agathanon, same thing. Ticket, please.
Take my mask off and kind of disappear it into my robe, and there you go.
Very, very good. Thank you, sir. Click, and kind of gives it and is very quick to turn to Scissero. Yes, ticket, please.
Here you go, friend.
Thank you. Click, hands it back. And for you, miss, I don't mean to disturb your reading or writing, but if I could just see your ticket, please.
And she doesn't even look up, just kind of hands it behind her head.
Very well. I'm sorry to disturb you. Click, and hands it back. And he kind of looks around and realizes he's checked every passenger's ticket and makes his way out. Just so you know, we'll be in Wroat in just a couple of hours. The bar car is next, the dining car after that, the private cabins after that, and then finally the locomotive here. If you need anything, my name is Orgar, and our captain today is Lord Orion. Enjoy your ride, and kind of a little tip of the hat, goes back through the bar car, and as he leaves this bright sunny day, a large shadow seems to be cast. First starting at the kind of front of the train. In stark contrast to the amount of light given off by the sun, it's the same kind of shadow that comes with like a solar eclipse. It seems to be very stark in contrast from the light to the dark, and it seems very kind of localized over, at least from what you can see of the countryside blurring next to you, kind of focused on the track of the train. Slowly kind of comes towards you, enveloping both sides of the car till the whole car is covered in the shadow. And just as it reaches like its absolute darkness, does anybody have dark vision?
Yep.
Probably.
Okay.
You can see my eyes in the dark too. They're glowing orange.
Okay. Scissero, Maeve, no?
Working on it.
Okay.
I don't.
It'll be yes.
I don't know if Warforged have dark vision or not. I thought I had.
I thought they did, but maybe not.
I don't have dark vision, so I'm
Okay.
just.
So Scissero, Tabatha, and Agathanon, just as it gets its darkness, everything in the room or the train car outside of your companions is going to seem to move. The people who were sitting where they were suddenly aren't there. They are in new seats. As the darkness recedes and the light comes back in, what is of the light? Suddenly it's nighttime. The sky is very dark and gray and foreboding. The inside of the train car is what you would classify as a retro train. Everything seems antiquated and immensely out of style with the current times. Suddenly it feels that despite you never having moved, you are in a different train car. And suddenly Scissero, who is sitting next to Agathanon by himself, is now sitting on the lap of a halfling who wasn't there a minute ago and is now quite upset that there is somebody sitting in his lap. Can I help you?
Bolt upright. Excuse me, sir. Aren't you going to buy me dinner first?
You were sitting on my lap. Go sit over there.
Okay. I'm just gonna little bit flustered. Still trying to get my bearings. Is there an empty seat around?
Yeah, it's the same number of people. Aside from your party, everybody's in different spots. So the same number of seats are open, just not the exact same ones.
Okay. Just go find.
Laughs at him.
Okay.
Is there I'm gonna try to just go on the other side of Agathanon if there's an open seat there.
Yeah.
Sit down.
The halfling kind of looks at you and looks at Agathanon. Okay. And kind of withdraws his brusque objections. And
I think I'm gonna sit right back up and then go back over to the halfling. Listen, sir, I'm sorry. I just must ask you a question. Did I just come and sit in your lap?
we went through a tunnel and it came out. I don't even. And he kind of looks around. How long have I been here?
Oh, so you don't know either. Okay.
He looks over. Hey, what are you writing over there? Wait. Oh, where did you all come from? The other passengers are also looking around with the same kind of quizzical look. These people look completely foreign to you. They are not the same, other people you were sharing the car with. And they also seemed almost just as confused as you are at your sudden arrival.
I'll kind of loom over the halfling and Sharn and kind of flick my forked tongue a little bit. Stare at him.
I meant no offense. Just you startled me. It was me and my coworkers. Just us. We're merchants. It was just us a minute ago, and now you're here, and I don't remember how I got here.
So Maeve is recognizing that these people are different than the people who were on the train before. And the first thing that Maeve does when she sees new people is she looks at their dress and she tries to interpret who and where they're from. So she's going to make a history check against the style of clothing that they're wearing.
Okay.
And it's a 13. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, 13 history check to determine the origins of these people based off of their dress.
You wouldn't be able to tell necessarily the where, like the cultural impact of where they're from. The style, especially spread out across all of the individuals, not a single one of them is wearing something that has been in style that you've encountered in the recent past. And if, depending on your social life, these are the kinds of things you would see at a costume party, as a novelty.
Curious dress. I do not recognize where and when these people are from.
The halfling looks down. This is quite expensive. This is the latest fashion in Sharn. That's where we're going. I need new clothes.
I do not need any clothes.
Can I look around? Are we dressed the same? Is there anything different about us?
You were just, everything about you is exactly the same. You were in the same place, aside from you having an odd seat cushion that wasn't there a second ago. Everything, even Tabatha, like as she's writing, between the kind of familiar setting and this new one, she didn't break like stride. It's the same coherent thought. No interruption in her writing. So as far as you know, the story that the halfling told possibly checks out. You went through a tunnel. It got dark. Now everything is as it is now. As everybody kind of sits there, the halfling kind of just goes back to reading his paper, and on the headline it talks about the nation of Seer and the other members of the Five Kingdoms entering into tentative peace talks in the hopes of ending the war. The door to the next car slides open. A large orc comes through in a slightly different version of the uniform that you saw the orc wear when he checked your tickets. This one kind of rumbles in.
Him come by. I'm going to kind of look around and try to kind of, if I have somebody next to me that's not Agathanon on the other side, try to just see and try to pick their ticket from their hand.
Okay. He starts at the front of the car, talks to two people that are not with the party. They hand over very prominent red tickets. Please, click, hands it back. Click, hands it back. Walks up to Dr. J. May I see your ticket, please, sir?
I just talked to the steward, but here you go, and I hand over my ticket.
And he looks at it. Sir, I'm good with jokes as anybody, but this ticket is for 12 years from now. And I don't know what the Mournlands is. I need a ticket from an Orion Lightning Rail that you bought to get on this train. Please. and he hands you your ticket back.
It seems there to be misunderstanding, for I purchased my ticket, and this is a valid fare. If you'd like to go return to the conductor and tell him you have a problem, I have no such problem. I do not know why this is not acceptable.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding, sir. Just wait right here and let me just get everybody else's, and we'll go talk to the engineer and see what he has to say. Not questioning, not saying you're a stowaway. Just this ticket's for the future, and we appreciate you choosing Orion Rails 12 years from now. We appreciate that kind of loyalty. However, I am going to need to see a ticket from today. But like I said, we'll get to you in a second. He goes over to Maeve. It seems kind of awkward, not really knowing how to deal with a Warforged.
Yeah, Maeve very mechanically and robotically shifts her head up and toward the conductor. And how may I help you?
I still don't know how to deal with your kind yet. Can I just see your ticket, please? I have something I need to attend to over here.
I've already showed my ticket.
I haven't been to this cart yet. Can I just see your ticket, please?
So Maeve presents the arm that the ticket had been deposited into previously, and like a sheet of printer paper, it goes bzz, out and into the hand of the conductor.
Yeah.
Is there a problem?
He kind of looks at it. Look, you guys, I've had a really long week. The war is just driving me crazy. I'm worried about my son. He's off fighting in Seer, and I don't want to just deal with prank tickets. These tickets are...
Can I prescribe you some antidepressants?
Potentially, but just I won't need them if everybody would just show me their ticket. If you could just wait over...
You say he's fighting in Seer.
Yes. He's part of the Syrian army. He really loves it there and has decided that it's worth fighting for.
Long over.
So I start looking at the other people that I know got on the train with me, and I just start looking them up and down, like if they're dressed in anything different, if they're, if anything seems different right now, because he's basically speaking of something that happened in the past, so I'm starting to like put clues together.
Give me a perception check, please.
All right. 1 second. Ooh, nice. 25.
Okay. With your 25, you notice that the date on the paper the halfling is reading is, from your perspective, the exact same date 12 years earlier. Also, the newspaper that he is reading no longer exists. You know it to have gone out of business near the end of the war. It got caught just basically publishing propaganda that destroyed its reputation, and as a result, it had to close.
Okay. So I start looking towards Mav, since she's really the only one that I've seen like up close. And I'm just kind of like noticing that if she is from the time after the war or the time before the war.
Your experiences with Maeve and her sentience, as well as her ability to choose for herself. Um, Not to mention just the model of Warforged that she is. One of the last kind of updates to roll off the line when they were manufactured.
So I will start moving back towards my seat.
Okay.
After everything that's happened.
The
ticket taker is still kind of going around, right?
Yes.
So I'm just gonna stand up and go to him and go. Listen, my friends, they're obviously there's some funny business. So let me make it up to you. I know these hooligans like to play some pranks and then all of this, but here, let me show you something. And I'm gonna reach into my coat pocket, take out the statue I was carving. Do you recognize what this is?
No.
This is a relic long before the Seer War. Long before Orion even thought of trains. Now, I have this, and I was going to make a delivery, and I was going to make a lot of money selling this to a merchant in the front car. Now, I feel bad for you. You can see I don't need the money, but it is my business. But because you are here, you are nice, and these hooligans are trying to take you for a trip, let me give you this. Let me give you this, and then we can be on our way. We can take it as fare for the whole car.
Rubs his head. I'm guessing you don't have your ticket either.
Oh, I have my ticket. It's just back here, but I just thought that...
Can I see it?
You have no interest in this relic.
My job is very straightforward. I ask for a ticket, I make sure it's valid, I punch it, and I go sit down and I enjoy the rest of this ride. This is the final car. I really just appreciate if I could get through this so I can go sit down.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's just in my bag. I'm gonna turn around and like pratfall onto the lap of the halfling and go, oh, I'm so sorry. And as I do that, I'm gonna try to find the halfling's ticket.
Okay. Give me a sleight of hand.
10 total.
The halfling, first you essentially gave him an unexpected lap dance. Now you appear to be aggressively kind of invading his personal space. Jumps up all indignant, mutters something under his breath, hands the ticket to the orc while never breaking eye contact with you. The orc gives him an agreeable smile, click, hands it back to him. Would everybody who has a green ticket please just raise your hands?
Defeated. I'm just gonna...
Tabatha is paying no attention to anything that's happening here.
He looks at everybody else. All right, you four, give me a second. Let me finish up what I'm gonna do, and then we'll go meet Lord Orion and just see what he has to say about this. It's his family that runs these trains. At the end, he makes the decision, and he finishes up with the other people not in the party and gets to Tabatha. Ma'am, I know I'm terribly sorry once again. If I could just get your ticket, I can let you get right back to, and I promise I'll be out of your hair because I'm going to go deal with these guys, and this train car will be a lot quieter without them, and you can go about what you're doing. If I could just have your ticket, please.
And she takes it without looking at him and just gives him the ticket.
All right. You know what? Everybody stay here. I'll be right back. And he kind of slinks out of the room, never turning his back to you, and goes to the door and locks it. You can see him disappear into the next car as this train hurtles through this foggy, moonlit, dark landscape. It seems to be moving just as fast. This time, all of the objects in the distance aren't a blur just flying by. That no matter how fast you feel as if you're moving, and the train's perception gives you that you're moving, the same kind of figures in the landscape seem static. That unless you are traveling in a circle, there is no way that something moving this fast would not just fly by these landmarks. The other passengers on the train kind of now very weary of all of you, if not for a number of reasons, at least for this odd prank of fake train tickets. They just don't get it. They're waiting for it, though. It might be great. And within a couple of minutes, the orc returns with a very well-dressed, think My Chemical Romance in the Welcome to the Black Parade video. Kind of a
solid pull.
Yeah, kind of an aesthetic, kind of a Captain Crunch meets Hexblade Warlock aesthetic. Sorry.
Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
And Captain Crunch, and there's definitely eyeliner. And the man looks like Gerard Way, combinedly enough. And he makes his way in, very kind of polite and dignified, good looking, like I said, rocking the Welcome to the Black Parade ensemble. I hear from our conductor here that you all have tickets for 12 years from today, but no tickets for this actual trip.
This is
That
true.
appears to be correct.
Turns around. You five stay here, and very kind of straightens up his uniform and puts his shoulder back and turns. Everybody get out! Puts his hand up, not you. Everybody looks at him. What the fuck does this guy think he is? You heard me. Get out. Not gonna say it again. They all kind of, all indignant, get up and make their way out. And as he does, he's kind of shooing them on. Come on, let's go. And as the last one goes to the door, he closes it, locks the door. I've been waiting for you. This train it's a nightmare. It's everybody here's nightmare. The days never end. They're day in and day out. I don't even know how long I've been here. What year is it where you came from? Is this ticket from today?
This ticket is from today. You, as it seems, you have spent 12 years taking a train ride.
And he
Just
got
kind of like kick Tabatha in the shin, or just kind of knock her.
What in the hell?
This shit's good. Start writing this down.
What? All right. What's going on?
I'm just gonna whisper to her and kind of fill her in as this dude's talking.
Okay. He looks around. He takes off his Gerard Way outfit, and underneath are these very regal black and gold robes. Adorned all over the robes are inscriptions of things like an hourglass, eyes, orbs, just your kind of generic wizard aesthetic.
The language that anyone recognizes?
What's that?
Is this a language that anybody recognizes?
What's that?
The symbols and the eyes and the orbs, are they a language?
No, they just I don't know, the way chef coats have like little forks on them.
Okay, so Maeve is gonna speak up and she says, "I have never been to hell. What is hell like?"
What?
This is somebody's hell. This is everybody's hell. I am Dalton Orion, scion of the Orion House and diviner extraordinaire. But as I bear the burden of a dragon mark tattoo, this is my fate as decided by my lineage and my family, and our pride has sent me into this torment in the hopes that someday somebody would arrive and free not only me but everybody on this train from this hellish nightmare.
So, at the sound of a diviner, you see Dr. J slowly kind of like pause for a second, and you see like an elbow almost kind of jut out from Agathanon, and you hear like a slight whisper. Bet he didn't see that one coming.
Agathanon's doing his best to not crack up. He's like,
So wait, let me get this straight. Your worst nightmare is riding on a train for a really long time.
That we
Who's gonna believe that? I can't use that. It's fine.
I do not believe it.
You can
I'm
you will
saying.
if you do not find a way off this train, this will become your reality as well. And you will fill up journal after journal of the same story with the same people until you go mad. The only thing that has kept me sane for 12 years now is the knowledge that one day you would come and set us free.
That's really good. I'm gonna use that one.
Orion, Orion.
I always envisioned my father's hell to be different.
So you said your name was Orion.
Orion.
Your name is Orion, but you're waiting to come?
He sits there, and I don't know much other than this is my fate for what I believe to be eternity. My studies and my divinations, what they are, have told me that we have been transported to the torment of one other person, that this is their personal hell and the rest of us are trapped here. Should they be removed from this train, all of us should be free.
I have a wife and children. Point out who you want removed, and I will remove them.
I have a date.
We do not know. All that I have been able to discern is we were late leaving the station, and as a result, we perished in the cataclysm known as the morning. We were late because of one passenger's selfishness, an inability to show the smallest bit of courtesy to their fellow man has doomed us all not only to death but to eternal torment. And now They ride this train the same as you and I, either unaware of their fate or fully aware of their fate, without remorse, day in, day out, seeing us here, knowing that we didn't make it because they could not be on time. This realm, whatever it may be, the last passenger is the key. Find out who they are. Kill them if you must, but free not only ourselves, you free.
All I know is that if we are stuck here and this is like my job, I must escape because this is truly hell.
You've only just arrived. You have no idea. Nobody dies. When you go mad,
Oh, well then this is perfect then. If no one dies, then I can never fail at my job.
You wake up still mad, still aware. But the days continue on. Your madness comes and goes as you convince yourself that this isn't real. I wouldn't wish this upon anybody.
Abe is having a very hard time understanding the concepts of purpose and real. This is kind of just like what you perceive as the pupils of her eyes are just bouncing around her sockets as calculations are just a buzz with possibility in her head.
Now, Dalton. Can I call you Dalton?
Sure. At this point, we may be here for a while. Might as well be familiar.
Yeah, let's get cozy. And speaking of getting cozy, you mentioned this is because of some dragon mark tattoo?
That's why I drive the train. It's a blessing and a curse.
Of the train,
I can't. These trains have to be piloted by members of my family, and no matter what you want for yourself, if this mark shows itself, your fate and your entire future is decided because of some genetic lottery that you were unaware that you won.
Can I see it?
Under his robe, kind of undoes some of the buttons, and this amazing, full chest piece, all track, no die, always on time. And there are...
He's literally repping the fucking train gang.
Free advertisement.
All of the entire chest of Dalton is basically a motif about time. Hourglasses, phases of the moon, what you know as the calendar, sundials, all kind of blend in together of essentially the statement of House Orion is promptness and being on time. It glows in a kind of shimmering purple red, and it seems to flare up or kind of, get dull based on whether the train is turning, whether it's on a straightaway, whether it's going fast. The train and the kind of glow of the tattoos seem to almost be in sync, despite him having no controls of any kind in his hands. He's talking just like an average person. And important that he's in the last car of the train as it just continues to move.
So this trip must truly be painful to you, as it is 12 years out of date.
I failed. I never wanted to be a pilot of the Lightning Rail. I did my duty to my family. I sacrificed all that I could have been to do this. And I did it proud and willingly. And now because of one person who was so important that they couldn't be on time, everybody in this train has died and is living in this hellish nightmare. Some of them unaware of what has befallen them. Some of them aware and then convincing themselves otherwise in order to stay sane. What kind of person does that?
People that don't see what their actions have on the rest of the world. I see that you take great weight in others' actions. I hope that you don't hold such actions accountable.
It's not hard. Be on time to a train. But because of who this person was, we had to wait on them. And now, here we are. We've narrowed it down. The conductor came through the train all the way down and stamped all of the non-first class passenger tickets. And when he returned to the first class dining car, which is right next door, they were all in there together. And we are unaware of who was the actual last one that caused us to be late. As they are unaware of the consequences of their tardiness, I have had no ability to speak or to figure out which is which, or however the rules govern this place. I have never been allowed to. I am hoping that you are here to deliver us out of this nightmare.
Monotony.
And find out who it was and have them be dealt with.
Leave it to the rich.
Move out of my way, and I'll begin. I'm a bounty hunter after all. This sounds like a bounty to me.
Okay. Yes, you will notice that we have kept them all in the first class dining car next door. There are just 4 passengers. Go talk to them, find out what you can, decide which one was last, do what you must, and set us all free. Perhaps even returning to your life as you knew it, even if it means sending us to wherever we go after we die.
Are you ready to die? I have met many people that said they were ready to die that were not at the time of death.
I am ready to be free.
Being free and dead are 2 very different things.
I'm willing to take that chance. I cannot do this any longer. I am the only one aware of what has happened, and I cannot continue on. The madness will creep in, and I don't want to go mad. I want to be free.
I'll put a hand on his shoulder and slip my mask on. We will take care of it.
As Agathanon puts on his mask, I catch the vibe, and you'll see me slowly put my mask on as well.
Look side to side and kind of like grab my hat. And... is this what we're doing? Are we going outside? It's still there's still a lot of it's still going very fast. Are we not? But okay.
And Maeve says, I do not require medical attention.
No one asked you. I am the doctor around here.
I am the one who knocks.
Perhaps I will seek your guidance for future medical procedures.
As the Lord Orion seems almost moved to tears in just what you can only guess is just frustration and just the fight to keep off the madness must be daunting to do it every day for 12 years. And to still kind of have his wits about him. You can tell he's a very strong individual. His powers as a wizard must be pretty impressive. And he steps out of the way. He was like, they are all in there. All their tickets have been punched. We just can't figure out which one was last. I bid you good luck and free us of this nightmare. I need to go back to piloting this train as we continue on for eternity. And he gives everybody a bow. Please wait a moment until I am through the dining car before you step in, for fear of what happens with these timelines interacting.
Space-time continuum.
Marty!
Please use that word.
Marty! What are you doing,
Your kids!
Marty?
You gotta do something about your kids!
We just become assholes in the future? So he gives you kind of a polite, puts definitely back on his conductor attire, straightens himself up, kind of, wipes the frustrated, fearful tears out of his eyes and makes his way through the dining car. If you look through the window from one car to the next, he makes no move to even glance at any of the other people sitting in the car, and makes his way straight through in a very straight back, shoulders back, confident strides through the car. You hear the door close on the other side, and once again, just the 4 passengers remain in the dining car.
The bartender's there though, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna walk over to the bar because that was the first thing I was trying to do before I got rudely interrupted with ticket checking.
Yeah, I'm following Dr. J. I want to hit the bar too.
Okay.
I'm gonna go and take a seat next to somebody and just take the statue back out and just start polishing it.
Okay. Tabatha, you gonna stick around? You gonna make your way into the bar?
Yeah, she's gonna kind of sit at the bar and people watch.
Okay. Maeve?
Maeve understands there's some medicinal properties to what's on the other side of this train car, so she's gonna follow them in.
Okay. As everybody enters the train car, in addition to the bartender, recognized as a tall elven female, dressed in a much less elaborate version of Lord Orion's ensemble. The epaulets aren't as big, the Captain Crunch parts in the front aren't as gaudy and very brightly gold. Just sits there polishing a glass. The other 4 people in the room, there is an all-black warforged, as if forged out of a crude iron. Nowhere near the smooth lines of Maeve. Very crude by your impression, especially compared to a contemporary, newest model, Maeve. A merchant who sits at the end of the bar, speaking into an orb that has voices come back out as if he's on a phone call. a well-dressed rogue with a tri-pointed hat, large feather sticking out of it, sits at one of the private tables, feet up on the table, not really paying attention to everybody else, and in a coin purse on his chest is kind of looking like he's counting. And the fourth person is another elf, dressed similarly to yourselves, potentially an adventurer. Despite elves not really kind of showing an age like the other races, you can kind of pick up from subtle little clues that this elf is probably in the autumn of his life. What little wrinkles can be seen, which are typically foreign to elven kind, slight little wrinkles, skin slightly saggy, and just this kind of resigned posture of somebody who's seen a lot. So real quick, bartender, crudely fashioned, warforged, merchant on the phone, rogue with a big feather, older elven potential adventurer. So now that we've really got everything going, we're going to take our break right now. When we come back, we're going to give a couple of minutes outside of character just to let everybody kind of formulate like an idea or a plan, and then after that, we're going to really get into the concept of this episode, where it's just going to basically be a giant social interaction of the party talking to these NPCs and coming to their own conclusions about who they're actually looking for, and then deciding what to do about it. To everybody who's tuned in, thanks for watching. I know this is kind of a weird show and not really how we typically do this. This is a concept I've wanted to do, and so I hope it's really working for everybody, and I hope you stick around to really find out how it ends. It is exactly 8:30 right now. We will be back very close to 8:35. We really hope you stick around to see how this thing ends. I'm really excited to see. The characters are great. I think it's going to end up really well. Yeah, we're going to go on our break, and we will see everybody in just a moment, hopefully. We'll be right back. Boom. All right, we are back. Everybody having taken their break because you got to go before you leave. The party into the first class dining car, as explained to them by Lord Orion, the conductor or the pilot of this doomed Lightning Rail, and at least thus far, the only person cognizant and aware of their situation. They have been on this train for 12 years. The days just stretch one into another. People can go mad upon the realization that they are living this day over and over again, and as a result will delude themselves into believing that they are not, and that is for the most part just how not only Lord Orion but the passengers of this train have lived their lives for what you know to be 12 years. So the party has walked into the first class dining car. In addition to the Orion Rails bartender, there is a crudely fashioned older model Warforge, completely black in a rough iron. A merchant who appears to be having a conversation with somebody not on the train through a small orb. A rogue who appears to be counting money in a table by himself, and an older elven man just kind of standing against the wall. His life experience is telling him that to sit means to not be vigilant. We will turn it over before we get back into game. If you guys want to kind of formulate like a rough plan, I'll give you guys a couple of minutes, and then we can jump right back into character and let you guys loose upon these four lovely NPCs.
So I'm gonna put the screws on the bartender first of all, and I'm basically gonna order I guess what you'd call the sundering in in 12 years from this train rides thing. Everybody knows it. In today's terms, it would be a cement mixer. So I'm gonna basically order a round of sunderings for everybody to kind of put the test to the bartender to see if he's aware of his situation. So if anybody else wants to kind of like pick someone and put their efforts towards them first off, but that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
I want to take the merchant.
Okay.
I kind of want to go where Mav is. I kind of find her approach to dealing with people entertaining.
Okay.
So I'm gonna kind of smirk behind her and just hype man it for her.
All right. Maeve, what do you want to do?
Who is the weakest looking humanoid?
The rogue would probably be the smallest, like stature-wise.
So Maeve is going to sidle up behind the rogue,
Okay.
and is going to have a potion or her healer's kit ready, looking for clearly on the lookout for the most vulnerable of the group.
Okay. And Tabatha, you're going to people watch, or you're going to kind of keep an eye on anybody in particular as you sit at the bar?
She's actually gonna get up and sit right in front of the elf. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
One of us choose the Warforge.
So how many people actually speak Elvish in here? Does anybody any of the characters? So I know 2 NPCs don't, or NPCs do, and then so you do, and then you do, and then all right, so 5 of us will understand me ordering drinks.
Not me. If no one chooses the Warforge,
Yes.
Okay.
I will go. bother the Warforge. I'm pretty sure I could make it steam up a little bit.
And just out of character, my big thought in trying to figure out who this is not somebody that doesn't care about time, but someone who feels that their time is way more important than everybody else's. So that's kind of I was trying to devise some sort of thought where we could kind of like make everybody seem like they're going to be late and see who takes personal offense to it, or order everyone a drink and theirs takes a long time, and kind of something along those lines, something to figure out who thinks that their time is more important than other people's time.
Ooh, so you think we could kind of like figure out what people's favorite drinks would be, and just kind of like just all just like everybody order a drink for the bar, and as we do it, you just kind of like, if we start naming off drinks, you see who looks up and sees, like, acknowledges that's what they would drink.
Something like that.
Okay.
Or just kind of like take their ooh maybe, since they don't know who we are, we're the new wait staff, or one of us is the new wait staff, takes their drink order and just waits it out and see who gets pissed off that their drink's not coming.
All right. So we essentially have five of you. Five of you are going to talk to. It's not going to be a one-on-one conversation where nobody can hear you. It's a small train car, so everybody will be able to hear you and kind of adjust. Just for the sake of actually running this for a stream, I'm going to roll a d6. Each one of the signs is going to be assigned to one of the NPCs. Whatever NPC comes up, that interaction will go first, okay? And then we'll play it as all of these happening at the same time for the most part. Okay? All right, let's see. Who are we going to start with? We are going to start with Tabatha and the elf. So, like I said, elves, have a hard time showing their age. They do live hundreds of years, almost, never really aging beyond once they mature. This one just kind of seems almost beaten down and resigned, not that kind of haughty, knowing that you live forever, not every moment matters because in the grand scheme of things, you're going to live forever. This elf, in a little bit of chainmail and a sword at his side, just leans up against the wall, not really paying any mind, kind of lost in his own thoughts. Tabatha, what do you want to do?
Okay, so first she's going to spray on her perfume of bewitching.
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You know this, right? Okay. And then she's gonna walk over, sit down right in front of him, like put her paper down like on the table, and just look at him like, Tabatha Thibodeau, writer extraordinaire. Nice to meet you. May I have your name, please?
Yes, I am Torin Windfeather, adventurer and tired soul, who could probably use somebody of your talents at this point in my life.
And why is that?
I'm going home. I have served my people for centuries, and my last and final task has been completed, and more than anything, I want to get home to my family and away from all of these troubles.
I feel you. I really do. Do you do you know what's happening here on this here train?
Just a bunch of people, hopefully on their way home to something way more enjoyable than where they are coming from. Everybody here seems kind of jovial, that I feel like they look forward to something.
And how long would you say that you've been riding this here train? How long you think you got left to your destination?
I don't know. I've probably been here a couple of hours. They haven't served dinner yet. I'm actually getting kind of hungry. So not too long. It is dark though. So I guess a little bit of time.
Yeah. You know how many hours in a year?
In a year, I
Yeah.
when you live to be as old as I am, hours pass like seconds, and the idea of counting them seems difficult.
That was very philosophical. This is good stuff. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Really, I do appreciate it. Yeah, he's clueless. Thank you. And she stands up and walks away.
He kind of gives an odd look. Um, hey y'all, he doesn't know anything.
He don't know shit, man. We'll be all right.
Don't worry about him.
Guys, we're good.
That was awesome. All right. So at any moment that we do these kind of little things, if anybody hears anything or is particularly drawn to something, whatever. All right. Now that there's only 4 of you, we can switch to a D4 to make it easier. 2. All right. We will go to Agathanon and the Warforged. It's standing in the corner of the train car, very rigid, yet its body is not like perfectly square, like it's been manufactured. Everything's kind of dinged and slightly looks out of alignment for what you know to be typically very well manufactured beings, as far as you know. This one seems not defective, but definitely kind of dinged up. Still kind of sputtering. You can actually kind of hear its internal workings actually happening, as if the process of creating them has been perfected between this one and Maeve, who operates essentially silently. Joke. Yeah, it just kind of stands there rigid, looking out the window with a hand on a crudely fashioned black iron sword. What do you want to do?
I will go ahead and move up next to it and stare out the same window, keeping an eye on its sword. What are you looking at?
Are you not afraid of me?
You are smaller than me. I'm not afraid of anyone smaller.
I've been told I was crafted as a killing machine, and that I would never find companionship. And to this point, nobody has ever spoken to me like one of their own. And yet here you are.
I take my mask off and stick my forked tongue out a little bit. And I know a thing or two about being a killing machine.
It's quite a heavy burden, and it is not a burden I know how to carry. I've only found myself like this somewhat recently, while my kind still remains ever driven to the war machine. I have gone what you call AWOL and left to sought a peaceful, solitary existence so as not to kill as I was designed to do. And the whole time it hasn't like looked at you at all. It's very clearly answering your questions and speaking to you. It is not, aware of, kind of social expectations that you look at somebody when they speak to you. It considers it speaking its perfectly functional interaction.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing like the whole Star Trek look out the fake window and
Lens flare.
talk to a person that doesn't exist. Yeah, exactly. Like,
Oh yeah. Um. So do you feel like you're being a coward?
I have killed thousands without question. I find myself not only burdened by this suddenly, but also worried that I may add to that number and compound these feelings that I have.
You don't enjoy killing?
I don't enjoy being made to do something without my input.
I understand. Everybody considers me a demon, though I share a bloodline with them. I do not act as a demon when I kill. I kill for money, I kill for fun. I can understand what it would be to be purpose driven and expected to do so. Perhaps one hand on your sword is not the best posture to convey your readiness to give up killing.
It is as I was made, and I find this freedom that I've suddenly been saddled with bears a lot more responsibility than I am prepared or aware of. And it looks down for the first time, no longer looking out the window, takes its hand off the sword. Perhaps it is not that people are bad and won't speak to me. Perhaps it is that I give them reason to.
Not many people are comfortable talking to somebody with their hand on their weapon. Fortunately for you, my hands are always on my weapons.
I have also come to realize that hatred and prejudice exist in your world, and my hand on my sword, while may appear threatening, is also so that I may defend myself. And for the first time, it turns and looks at you. It has just these faint silver orbs in its eye sockets. They're scratched and kind of damaged, chipped, and everything. And as it looks at you, this kind of blank, emotionless face expresses a sense of menacing. For the first time, this thing that you've been speaking to actually appears to be that which it is afraid of.
I'll kind of like puff up and kind of give my best malice back to it.
It looks at you for a second, waits for you to kind of finish contorting your face, makes no expression, it's blank, and then goes right back to the window. Perhaps you too are more afraid of the outside world than you care to let on. My face always looks like this. You choose for your face to look like that.
That is why I carry a mask, is to have a singular face and not betray myself.
I don't even know who I am to betray myself. And kind of looks out the window.
I'll give him a little flick. Bink! It looks to me like you are a man of iron. Unbreakable.
I have seen my kind cut down by some of the most horrible instruments of war. I wish your statement were true.
You stand here, you speak, you see, you survived. My statement is true.
I am lucky that I can escape and live alone on the frontier, to not know the pain of ostracization from society, to not be tempted to hurt those again that I have no quarrel with, but have quarrel with those who do not fight, who send others to die in their place to satisfy their vanity and their greed for more lands and more subjects. I will be a part of it no longer.
So where are you going to escape it? Why are you here on the train?
I am going to Droam, a place for those not accepted by regular society, by those who would not judge somebody for they too know what it means to be judged.
How long do you think you've been on this journey? Do you have an internal clock?
Looks at its chest. I am afraid I am not that evolved, as you would say.
Interesting. I'll kind of look over at the tabaxi and be like,
All right.
so, so you don't know how long you've been, but you do know where you're going.
I do. I bought this ticket, and it holds up a ticket slightly different than the ones you saw in your compartment. They're a little nicer and have a photo of the Warforged corresponding photo on the ticket. This ticket is my ticket to a new life.
All right. This one, I'll kind of like broadcast it. This one seems fine to me.
Okay.
I understand this one.
I'll
Start walking.
The ticket of any particular color, or was it just kind of an ID card with the Warforged on it?
It's the tickets in the other compartment were, yours are like a bright neon green. These were red. It's the same red with like kind of a gold border signifying first class, and also to verify that it's a first class ticket, there's a photo. All right. Let's see.
Can I at the end of that interaction kind of like pop up out of nowhere, like the short people do, just kind of like, yes, hello, excuse me, hi, Tabatha Thibodeau, nice to meet you. So I just had a quick question. Do you know how to tap?
Do I know how to what?
That's fine, because you see, I saw one of the dudes that was walking around. He works for a rival newspaper. Anyway, this is not really important at all. But he had one of the thing looking like you, and he was typing and doing stuff as he was saying it. You know, he was typing as he was saying the things. And we got one of you over here, but he's really more of a healer. He's not much of a typer. And you looking for some sort of purpose in life, some sort of new life and everything. And I could hire you to do some typing from you. You know, you'd follow me around, type up some of my stuff, because writing just it takes so long.
I, I, he, still with this kind of blank, emotionless face, and despite a kind of very even keel cadence when it speaks, it stammers. I am I'm unfamiliar. I believe this is called friendliness. Uh, I am KH663. It is a pleasure to meet you, and a purpose might be interesting. I go not knowing what I shall do, other than to live out the rest of my days, whatever that may be, just in the hopes of not hurting anyone. And it's doing its best to kind of make eye contact as best as this kind of socially awkward, automated machine still at this point. Well, this one's sentient, but like I said, a much cruder version of Maeve. Mm-hmm. And it just gives off this kind of weird, kind of awkwardness, not familiar with social norms.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You got manners and stuff. I just one quick question before I can actually hire you. How would you say your punctuality is? You would never show up late for anything, would you?
I arrive when programmed. My body, who looks down at it, is still a tool, and it is difficult to be a killing machine and have a free spirit and a lack of timing.
We'll work on that. But that's good. That's wonderful. All right, man. Time. Thank you so much. We'll keep in touch. And she just walks away.
And expressionless, watches her go all the way back to the seat and just continues to go staring out the window. Let us move to... Let's go to Scissero. Seated at the end of the bar, a kind of plump, balding human man sits there, kind of nice robes. You notice the kind of adornment and some of the accoutrement to what he's wearing signifies member of like a merchant guild, like tradesman's guild. He speaks very fast, and he seems to be talking to this orb who's resting on a pillow on the bar. From the distance, because of the optical illusions that a glass orb play, you can't really see. It appears whoever he's talking to appears upside down to you. But a human female voice can be heard as the other half of his interactions. What do you want to? What do you want to do?
Sitting at the bar?
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit next to him, not acknowledge him, and wave over the bartender.
Okay. As he kind of sits there, he sees you. Hey, that's some fancy getup. You going to a party or something?
Something like that. I have a day's waiting for me on the other side. Just one moment. The bartender.
Bartender comes sauntering over, doing the whole bartender thing, just polishing a glass. Yes, how can I help you?
Do you have a wine list?
We are somewhat limited. If it and he kind of looks at the merchant, and the merchant gives him a nod. The gentleman here, in his generosity, has offered champagne to everybody, as he is in a celebratory mood.
Well, now, my friend, you catch me embarrassed, and I look over to him. I was going to offer you a drink.
No, I won't be able to accept. You see, I'm celebrating. My grandson was just born, and I'm on my way to see him, and there is absolutely nothing that could spoil this feeling except for others not accepting my generosity and celebrating with me. And he reaches into his coat and pulls out a cigar. It's tradition. Can I interest you?
Oh, please, absolutely. No, but I can't accept this without a name.
Uh, he searches for his name. He's so excited about his grandson. Yes, Oswald Benedict, son of Benton, and grandson to Oswald the Third. I can't. And he clips the cigar and hands it to you. Pulls one of his own, clips it, puts it in, lights it. Offers your cigar. Looks at the bartender. You don't mind, right? I had a grandson. It's a big deal. I want to
No, she doesn't mind. It's fine.
Okay, and kind of goes back to smoking. So where are you headed? What are you up to?
Oh, I'm off to Seer. I've got a lovely lady waiting for me on the other side.
It's beautiful out there. I lived out there for a while. Moved to Sharn. Got the kind of big gig. My daughter lives in Wroat. I can't wait to see her. She's a lady in waiting for the king. And it's a short little journey, and I can't wait to be there. Seer is behind me. Wroat is in front of me. I cannot wait.
Well, that's excellent. I have to say, you look like you are a man of the trade, are you not?
Yeah. I buy things low and I sell them high. Came up from nothing really. Started with a cart selling oysters. Eventually bought a couple of boats. Got out of the fishing business and into the import-export business. That's where these cigars came from.
And they are fine.
Oh, thank you. It's befitting of the birth of and the continuation of my legacy.
Absolutely. And what do you deal in now?
All goods. I'm mostly a shipping company as opposed to a merchant. I have boats. People want to send stuff on boats, and I make sure it gets there.
Well, excellent. Now, this may be embarrassing, and I know you don't like to mix work with pleasure, but I have come across something in my travels. I'm a little bit of a trader myself. I don't make my living doing it, but I certainly come across artifacts on my travel, and I'm wondering if you'd like to see.
Yeah, maybe we could work something out. I could get you a distribution deal. If not on a boat, I can get you on a lightning rail and a cabin car. I can get you on an airship if you need it. Send it anywhere you need, whenever you need it. I've got an in with the king. You see, my daughter's a lady in waiting.
Well, this isn't a bulk purchase. This is a one of a kind. Now, and he kind of looks around. I don't know if I should take it out in the company here.
He kind of saddles up a little closer to you, kind of, bridging the gap between two people sitting at the bar. Show it to me. I want to see it.
All right. Okay. You're getting me all excited with it. Okay. And reaches in and pulls out the statue that he carved earlier. It's nice.
It
nice,
is.
Is it not?
Yeah, it is. It is really nice.
It's pre-antiquity.
Pre-antiquity.
Yes, I was down delving in a deep dungeon underneath a church, which was underneath a temple itself.
But
you see that marking on the back?
Yeah?
I found a scroll that was rumored that marking was made by Pelor himself.
Interesting. Kind of looks at it. It's it's very nice. If you'd like, when we get to Wroat, I might be able to help you sell it.
Excellent. Well, the thing is, I like I said, I do have this date. I do have this date that I need to, and you will agree, a man attached to a lady in waiting, that a lady must not be kept waiting too long, eh?
Yeah, the title's odd, but they wait on the princess or the queen, and at the same time they're also waiting for a suitable match. It's an odd title. You're right. I never really thought of it.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, I have such this fine artifact. Would you be able to arrange for the train on the way back to wait for me?
I I think so.
You don't think that would be too much of a trouble?
I
I mean, it is a very fine artifact, and all those people on board, I'm sure they don't have anywhere important to go. You agree, eh?
I
It's like all, these metal men over here, and whatever that man with his feet on the table. Ugh, disgusting. Who has their feet on the table? They don't know manners. They can wait. Am I right? Am I right?
I would not make. I have a hard time as of late. I'm just becoming a grandfather, and the world seems suddenly timeless, as if I have everything to live for. Not only knowing that my family's line will continue, but that my daughter's love with her husband has produced my beautiful grandson, who I can't wait to see. And I don't feel rushed or burdened by anything, but I wouldn't say the same of others.
I see. I shall say, my friend, I dream to be as wise and as patient and as disregarding of other people's times as you are in my old age.
I wouldn't say disregarding, just
Cheers.
cheers. Enjoy the cigar.
I will. It's very fine. Thank you.
All right. Let us go to let's go to Dr. J and the bartender. So you see Scissero kind of sliding up to the merchant at the bar, and right as you get there, he signals the bartender over, has his little interaction, and as he kind of finishes the little conversation with Scissero, the merchant kind of goes back to smoking a cigar. The bartender is standing in front of you. What can I get you? The gentleman here has bought everybody champagne for the day. If you'd like that, I could get you some of that.
Champagne is fine, but there's something else. It's more of a tradition for me, as you see.
We here for Orion Railways believe in the tradition of all things. Yes, I'd love to be a part of it.
So I'll take the glass of champagne that the merchant bought, and I'll just kind of like take it and sip it. And as I do, I'll just kind of look at the bartender, and in Elvish, I will say, is a long-standing tradition that I have. Because if you can't enjoy the little things, then the big things aren't quite as important.
That's why we attend to every detail here on Orion Railways. Only the finest drinks, the finest service. I live to please. What is it that I can do for you in order to keep this tradition? She says in a very cordial Elvish, not as kind of rigid and professional as her approach was in common, but having you speak to her in her regular tongue, she suddenly feels a lot more at ease and kind of a little less, like I said, a little less rigid, a little less formal in her address to you.
And
Hi, Winston.
give me one.
Hi, Winston.
So, in that, I will.
Winston's like, bark at him. What are you doing? Dude, just bark at him.
Unmute so I can bark, please.
I rolled a 12 and bark. Does that hit?
All right.
Sorry.
So, I will kind of look at I'll look all around, and then I'll look at the bartender, and I'll go, now this may not be, quite, traditional. This is kind of more of a, how you say, a look on life. And in my profession, I like to laugh at life. And so I will order what's the equivalent of a cement mixer nowadays on the thing, and see if she understands.
You're gonna order it, but by what it's called in the what the kids are calling it these days.
Well, right. So basically, what I would call it would be the sundering, as kind of right.
The play.
So 12 years after, 12 years after the morn and everything like that. It's kind of, that's what the thing is called. But as it's it would it would have had a name before that, but
sure.
Since that it would have been changed.
So as you call this drink the sundering, she kind of eyes not rolls back into her head with that kind of thinking pose. I'm sorry, sir. I'm afraid I've never heard of that. I don't know. Do you know what's in it?
It's a whiskey drink, and if you have any acidic fruit, very, very acidic.
She kind of looks down. She pulls out the whiskey. She shows you the bottle on it. She's like, this is it's a vintage single batch, and on it is the year. The year to your time frame is 37 years since it was bottled.
So 25 years to her.
She's we just opened this bottle of 25 year. It's the finest, and the merchant down at the end goes, "Oh, I haven't even had it yet. That stuff is supposed to be great." And he's like, "Put it on my tab." She looks at him, "Yes, sir." The gentleman, and he kind of offers you a cigar without really talking to you, just kind of hands it out to you.
I'll take it.
He's like, I just had a grandson, and goes back to smoking, letting you return to your conversation with the bartender.
Thank you. Celebrations are worth the wait sometimes.
Okay. Yes. Anything worth celebrating is probably hard earned and potentially even long fought for. And if you to achieve what you desire, you do deserve to celebrate.
I'll just kind of nod my head, going back to the conversation that I was having.
Okay. All right. Let us go to Maeve sitting with the rogue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. He sits there, very well dressed. Looks like he could be a poor man's version of Scissero at Halloween. The clothes, the same kind of general look. It's fabric and quality nowhere near as nice, almost as if he was like pretending to be a part. And he kind of sits there with the bag on his chest, open, and you can subtly hear as his fingers move, like the clinking of coins.
Maeve is very awkwardly going to just ask the man, how many coins have you counted?
Right now, 363, 64, 65, 66. I expect there to be almost 600 in here. The people that made this unwitting donation usually collect about this much. And he just keeps counting.
Who gave you... yeah. It's a curious amount of coin for a man who appears derelict. Who gave you this coin?
Somebody undeserving of having it. And my attire, while comfortable, is nothing but an attempt to deceive, a ruse, if you will, that I appear to be somewhat destitute and non-threatening. And as he does so, while he continues to count, he opens up his jacket, and inside you just see a dozen knives of various sizes and shapes. Don't let them ever see you coming. They never will, and they won't even know to look for you when you're going.
I am going to use fast friends on this person.
Okay.
To make a wisdom saving throw or become charmed.
Okay. It's going to be an 11.
It's going to fail.
Okay.
So this gentleman with the pocket full of knives performs and serves any actions that I ask of it to the best of its ability for the next hour.
Okay.
I believe I have acquired a weapon.
I don't know what I could help you. I don't know what you want me to do.
Please be quiet and await further orders.
Yes, of course. I'm terribly sorry.
Maeve has nothing else. She's just she's kind of thrust out her wrist and plunged the needle into the forearm of this apparent rogue in front of her.
Okay.
And has injected it with some kind of nano creature that has given her control over him.
Okay.
At least for the next hour.
He sits there kind of like amused, hands folded in front of his face, just like waiting for you to talk to him.
Maeve proceeds to ask a couple of questions. What is your name and where do you come from?
My name is Aster. I come from Anduir, and I am, let's just say, a redistributor of wealth.
Final question for you. List your skills.
Burglary, sleight of hand, deception. I am quite the actor. I have a great disguise ability. I can cook. I can clean.
Stop.
You'll
Disguise
hear me pipe up in the background. It's honesty too.
I'm quite honest.
Please disguise yourself as my companion.
And as you command him to do this, he kind of looks at you, seems to kind of squint his eyes and think for a second, and instantly he transforms into any of the other people that you're traveling with, while wearing his same clothes and staying his same like size. So when he looks like Agathanon, he doesn't grow real big, but looks identical just on this phrase. Tabatha, obviously a little smaller, and he just keeps kind of rotating through these faces of the rest of the party.
How about I roll a d4 and you decide what result it lands on as Maeve says stop.
Okay.
And I rolled a 2.
1, 2. It's going to appear to be Agathanon. Just, like I said, smaller. The clothes look to fit exactly the same. The face and what you can see of their hands, identical to Agathanon's like pallor and overall look. Still using his voice. He's like, I'm terribly sorry. I'm a changeling. Do you know what that is? And I get really nervous in situations like this where I feel really defenseless and like I'm not in control of myself, and my abilities kind of get the better of me when I'm not in control.
And Maeve is going to stay in her typical sing-songy robotic voice. Your honesty remains your greatest asset, and just kind of leave it at that, and allow Noganathon
Agathanon?
to Non-Gathanon to exist in her state.
Non-Gathanon.
Non-Gathanon.
Your evil twin brother. the Omega to your Alpha.
Wait till I see him.
Well, if you're in the same room, I'm pretty sure existence ends.
Yeah. I'm start peering over there. God damn, that guy got handsome, didn't he?
He sees you kind of looking, and like in his kind of anxiety and awkwardness starts looking around and apologizing to everybody as he just manages to keep transforming to not only everybody in the party but everybody else in the dining car, with the exception of Maeve and the other Warforged. He's just this kind of anxious mess, fixated on Maeve, but just an ever-changing like face.
All right. Maeve is gonna announce to stop one more time, and be somebody not in the car, please.
I need the people like closest to me, to go off of. If not, things can get bad if I try to be somebody from memory.
Okay, can I? Maeve is gonna make a desperate attempt with a persuasion check, and say, and then she's going to have from her wrist a little hollow image of the only creature that she keeps a picture of is Galprex Minchin, a gnomish artificer that helped to create her, appears to hover above the palm of her hand, and she says, "Be Mincham now, please." And she's gonna roll a perception check to try to convince him to do that.
Okay.
And let's see. I gotta go to my abilities. Persuasion check. Excuse me. Yeah. So it's a 12 to persuade him to be the image of a gnome that wears goggles and has purple hair.
He kind of takes a break from his anxiety and kind of looks at the picture and focuses. And just as the same as Agathanon, he turns into like the similar face, but still in the frame of like a medium-sized, human.
Okay.
Is this what you want? Is this good?
It is good enough, I suppose. She like kind of hangs on this emotional and objective word of suppose to the point where she appears almost to glitch. I suppose, and that is she ends her statement there, hoping that the facsimile of Galprax, her creator, is satisfied.
I'm gonna just sidle up and sit next to the road. Hey.
Yeah.
You gotta keep your cool, man.
I can't. I'm like I said, I don't deal well when I don't feel like I'm in control. And something I don't know what. I'm not typically like this. I'm not really talkative. I'm a thief. I don't like telling everybody my business. Why am I still telling you this stuff? You're
I've got a friendly face.
You're a car full of strangers, and I'm basically telling you I robbed a rich family, and I'm on my way to give it to villagers destroyed by their corporation, and this is so that these people can have a better life. And here I am in this train car, and hopefully we're almost there. And I'm just telling everybody everything about me.
I think we have a little bit more ways to go, but just from one gentleman who likes to remove people's belongings to another. I'd just like to talk a little bit about your tactics, the trade. Now, do you like to be ahead of your victims or behind?
I like to hit them when they're not looking. In order to get this, I burned down the office to rob the mansion.
Mm-hmm. And who in this train have you relieved of their belongings?
Nobody. These seem like regular, nice people who I'm sure are on their way somewhere. The people that I stole this from, they're horrible monsters, and not just by taking this money from them, but by burning down their office, I have done but a fraction of what they deserve to have happened to them.
Yeah, but come on. You see that man over there handing out cigars? You don't think he got where he got without stepping on a few toes, without ruining a few futures? You don't get to where he is without that.
I don't know enough about him to suppose. I'm not a criminal. I believe in a certain justice of the downtrodden, unable to fight for themselves. That somebody needs to fight for them and not fight for themselves and have that benefit them. I don't.
Oh, my friend, that is the very definition of a criminal. But that's not a bad word. From one criminal to another, that is exactly where we need to be.
He kind of looks at you. You're like me, aren't you?
Just better dressed.
I said it's a way so people don't suspect me. They pay attention to the guy who just kind of blends in, who dresses like this, and he opens up his inside of his coat. And he was like, and if I do draw attention, I've got this. He closed it back.
I'll have you know, you were the first person I looked to when I walked onto this train. I don't think your getup is as hidden as you want it to be.
You just have a better eye than most. I would also know not to ever rob you, for I feel as if I would be outmatched.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you, when you got onto this train, who'd you notice? Who was there first?
The Warforged, because you don't see them out too often. The elf, because I needed to see if things went sideways, whether I'd be safe. And it's like surround. That's it. That's all I really saw.
Yeah, that's who there was. You're doing a good job, my friend.
I appreciate that. You know, my friend here. I hope that she appreciates it too.
Oh, she does. She loves you. It's hard to see past her little metal face, but she absolutely loves you.
And as you're having this interaction with the rogue, who has calmed down, has manifested the face that Maeve instructed him to for a little bit of time, the conductor the pilot, Lord Orion, makes his way back in, and kind of goes near the bar and shoos the merchant away and kind of begs everybody to come closer. I don't know how this works for outsiders, but this is about the time of the day when everything, and mid-sentence snaps, you guys are all back where you were, as if coming out of the shadow. Scissero is back on top of the lap of the halfling. You are fully aware that you have seen this scene before. Every instance and everything not related to you plays out identically to how it did before. Everything comes in at the same time, the exact same words, the exact same motions, the exact same reactions. And as you continue this pattern and let it just play out your entire train ride, everything falls into place, just as it did. And just as at the point in the time of your journey that Scissero is in the middle of conversing with the rogue who's changed into Maeve's idol, the pilot bursts back in. I don't know how this works for outsiders, but this is the part of the time of day when things boom.
Before he gets it out of his mouth, I turn around and just stab the rogue in the head.
Go ahead and give me an attack roll, please.
All right. 21.
Okay, that hits. Go ahead and roll for damage.
11.
As you stab the rogue in the head, the face almost goes to like a kind of blank, kind of proto face that very distinguishable features, just the most basic rudimentary kind of humanoid face, and screams out in pain. And as it does so, you take an identical sensation and 11 damage as you feel the stab to your head. Upon the scream and the realization that you've been stabbed, the day starts over again. You're back in your seat. Scissero is on top of the halfling. You still feel the pain. The day continues on exactly as it has. This time even changing a few things. You approach different people at the bar. No matter what, the conversations play out exactly the same, no matter how you try to deviate, no matter how many times you go through this, it continues to be the same conversation. And just as Scissero is discussing with the rogue, the pilot brings in, I think I've got it. I see what you're doing, and the fact that you tried says something. The fact that I'm now aware of this says something. Keep trying. bang, the day starts back over again. We are back to the scene where knowingly at this point, at any moment, the pilot is about to barge into the train car. What do you want to do?
The old elf. I want to look at him and the look in his eyes as the captain busts into the door again.
Jumpy from war and probably a lifetime of battle, the sudden barging in of the room startles him really quickly, and just as soon as he kind of realizes what's happened, he goes right back to his kind of calm against the wall.
How's the merchant fare?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I take a look at maybe insight check or something?
Okay.
Take a look at if I'm around the merchant.
Yeah. What do you want to see? Insight into his reaction?
Into his reaction, like if he's actually, you know what? Can I, over the course of this repetition, I want to try to start to listen into his conversation with the orb. And my question is, does it change?
No. It's going to be, you gather he's talking to his wife. She was apparently present at the birth and is, a lot of information that you would give somebody not present. Everything was fine. The baby weighed this much. He looks just like you. We can't wait to see you. And the only thing that has changed in this whole kind of cycle, this Groundhog's Day, is the one time Agathanon stabbed the rogue, took some damage, and then the slight change in conversation from the pilot, Lord Orion.
Agathanon is being worn very thin at this point and is not very pleased. When we reset again, I stand up and before anybody has a chance to clear out of the back car, I lock the door. My eyes turn red. Reveal yourself. Who made this car late? Who did it?
The merchant, everybody kind of looks around, that kind of like, oh, who's the asshole? And everybody kind of looks and slowly, unaware as his conversation continues in the orb, the bartender as well as the other people on the train kind of slowly wait a moment for the person to speak up and eventually just kind of turn and look at the merchant as he just continues in his animated conversation, so excited about the birth of his grandson, completely unaware of what is going on in the car around him.
I go over to the merchant and grab him by the throat and pick him up off his chair.
What are you doing? I can't, I just had a grandson. I don't have any quarrel with you. Please let me see my grandson.
I'm going to start to squeeze hard enough that my clawed fingernails stick in a little bit. Did you really have a grandson? Was it worth all of this?
Yes, my life is absolutely worth living. I have to see him. I can't wait. My life is absolutely worth living at this point.
You said at this point. Why now? Why do you think anything has changed?
I have,
life is always worth living.
I have something to look to make me not worry about my everyday life. I have something better than all of us. It is if all of my cares in the world are gone, knowing that this person, this baby exists.
I look over at.
But yet you still couldn't make it here on time. Why is that?
It was a couple of minutes. Everybody's fine. Look, I'm sorry. All right? Everybody have some champagne. I was a couple of minutes late because I had a grandson and I was talking to somebody. Excuse me. Nobody's dead. Nobody died some horrible tragic fate. You had to wait a couple of minutes. Excuse me.
I don't usually take pleasure in this. I'm gonna walk up to him and take my rapier out and put it under his chin. Your grandson is dead. Your wife is dead. You, right now, also dead. Yeah.
Did you give him the pokey, or you still got the?
Oh no,
we're just threatening?
Agathanon took care of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're choking him.
Oh yeah, hard enough that his neck's making creaky poppy noises.
As you stand there, choking him, you are just innately aware that this is exactly the point in time when the pilot would barge in. Even slightly unsure of yourself, and you go, maybe it's a couple more moments. Maybe it's just a couple more moments. The pilot never comes as you choke the life out of the merchant, heavy man.
Yeah.
Squirming. He goes limp, and as he does, the train seems to slow down remarkably. That the landscapes and everything outside now comes into view. It is still dark and ominous, but the train seems to be slowing. And the pilot, I don't know why I keep getting that wrong, bursts in. What did you do? Did you discover who it was?
I turn around with red glowing eyes, holding his still limp body. Him.
How do you know it's him?
It's always the rich assholes.
Then if he is dead, why are we all still here?
The train must make its destination, right?
Yes, perhaps that's it. And he kind of slams the door. I'm terribly sorry, folks, for this. Do not let the incident here in this dining car be reflective of our services at Orion Railways. We will give everybody a voucher for a free trip, and I'm terribly sorry. I need to return to the locomotive and see what has happened. And he disappears for a moment.
It's the conductor.
The rest of the people in the car seem a little odd. He just choked a fellow passenger out. And everybody seems to kind of, not know what to do. A couple minutes later, the pilot, bursts back in. So, I've done some divining, and it was foretold that upon the death of the last passenger, that this train and all of the souls on it would be free. Unfortunately, he was not the last passenger on Seer 1313. It instead turns out that you, 5, are the last passenger on Seer 1313, and this train is now tied to your lives. And Captain kind of bucks up and gets that kind of glazed over alternate reality kind of look to his face, looks at the 5 of you. Where to our ultra first class passengers? And he turns, opens the door, walks back to the locomotive. As you kind of ponder the answer to his question, the landscape changes dramatically, as if a reflection of where you yourselves would like to go individually, yet all at the same times play out over the landscape, as it is this kind of amalgamation of all of the places you all deeply want to go. And just like that, your day starts over. You are back in the back car, Scissero seated atop a halfling. Everything identical except for the background of the view and the destination, as you 5 are now the last passenger of Seer 1313. And we will end it there with my exceptionally anxious moment. So, surprise!
I break the window out and fly out.
God damn it.
Then jump.
I got
No.
Maeve is perfectly content to live this loop as many times as she needs to figure it out, but I'm curious. Was there an escape from that, or was it going to end the same way every time we played it?
It would end the same way. The variation that depended on you was going to be how you obviously the order that you talked to them in. The fact that you talked to them individually was something.
Have you ever watched the movie Langoliers?
Yeah. Like I said,
Unfortunately,
at the beginning,
In the end, did you know? In the beginning, did you know that everybody was fucked? Or in the end, did you know that everybody was fucked?
all I knew is that I was fucked for watching that movie.
So, like I said, the M. Night Shyamalan thing was kind of apt because the example I gave is that you guys sat through this for two some hours, and hopefully, as painful as it may have been to get there, the ending was at least a little something.
It was a happening for sure.
Okay. You guys, thank you. Like I cannot thank you enough. I don't usually feel very self-indulgent when we're done with these. Usually I feel like I've given more than I've gotten. This one, I definitely feel like I've gotten more than I've given. This has been just this kind of weird thing. Thank you so much for kind of sitting through it, and I hope that you all enjoyed it. Like I said, I tried to sell this as a weird concept. This is kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to let you guys talk and then just present you with this really kind of, twist ending that will hopefully make you go, oh yay, oh.
Yeah.
So, like I said, guys, thank you for literally indulging me. Like I said, I feel like this whole thing was kind of a selfish exercise for me just to want to do this concept. So thank you very much. So that was Seer 1313. Everybody's at home is like, dog, for real? This is how it ends? Bro, there better be a post-credit scene or something, because this shit doesn't make no sense. And they're like, there's got to be a post-credit. There's got to be a post-credit scene. There's got to be something. They got to set up something. Sorry there isn't. Go ahead and look on the internet. There isn't a post-credit scene. Like I said, I'm so thankful to everybody that came out. These people have kind of sat here and enjoyed my kind of indulgence, and played it unbelievably well in this kind of weird situation. So once again, I thank them. Now we've met their characters. Let us meet the even better people behind them. Chrischelle, we won't start with you. We're not going to put you on the spot again. Let's start with my boy Lewis. We'll start by proximity. Dude who just lives on the other side of town. Homie, thanks. I mean, you're my boy and I love you. So thanks for coming out for this. I know you're an Eberron guy, and so hopefully, hopefully you had a little fun. Like I said, thanks for coming out.
I always love a twist ending in
Okay.
at the end. Can't say that I didn't see. It was the conductor, but love it. Love being trapped in a time loop. Who the hell doesn't?
Bill Murray.
But yeah, I am Lewis. I am close friend of Manny, firm believer in D&D, playing D&D. Love hanging out with everybody that plays D&D. Love hanging out with people on this channel. Can't wait to see more of this. Hope everybody had fun tonight. And super excited to play. Really love the ending. That was great.
Thanks, buddy. Let us go to one of my biggest outside supporters who hasn't been with us from the beginning of the channel, but beginning with us with this show, who's also done some of the bigger ones that I'm definitely more proud of, including Enemy of My Enemy 2 weeks ago. Tim, what'd you think, man? You into it? Was it cliched? Was it telegraphed?
All right, so the first thing I thought of at the end of this game was Vanilla Sky, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, which is not necessarily a loop, but it's this like false reality thing that's being played, and I never want to spoil that movie for anyone because I don't think most people have seen it. But I really loved it. I think that Maeve was very much stuck in a reality that she was used to, and so it was not immediately obvious to me as a character. But no, I love the narrative kind of loop that you threw us for. It's not usual for D&D. One shots are so much fun to play around with, and I can tell that you particularly love experimenting with the storytelling possibilities of doing like a 2-hour movie as opposed to a 10-year Avengers epic, and that kind of thrills me as far as storytelling possibilities go. That's really kind of clever, really.
Thanks, man.
A little bit about me. I like to play D&D. I try to be a DM over on my own Discord. If you enjoyed any of what I had to present to you, then you're welcome. I really liked playing Maeve. I think she's fun. I hope nobody is actually annoyed and is just play acting annoyed with her crappy antics.
Everybody loves C3PO. All right, now let's go to my boy on the West Coast, who has played quite a bit with me, including on our Tuesday show. Tenta, does this work for you? Like I said, I mean, I want to hear it. I felt like it was kind of telegraphed. It was, like I said, it was an experiment. I genuinely hoped you guys liked it.
It didn't telegraph to me. Okay. I am more of a visceral meathead. I solve things with blades and bone, and so this was kind of like over my head the whole time, but then at the end I was like, ah, jeez. So it was good. It was good to me. Cool. Like I said, I'm more of a visceral person than I am a mindfuck type guy. So I enjoyed it, and it's always nice to take part in something that is that's different than your comfort zone, because then you grow from it, and there's different things to enjoy, and it was good. It was good. I would definitely sign on for another such thing, even knowing that it was going to be this way as opposed to a traditional thrill and kill.
Awesome. Like I said, thanks, man.
Knowing that you have no real effect.
Yeah. All right, let's go to our newcomer. It is probably one of the odder, definitely episodes to come into. Thank you for coming out. I hope you had a lot of fun. We were so thankful to have you and just to have new people. I love these guys, but some of them I'm sick of. I'm really not. I love you guys. Don't think that. I'm just trying to show off for the new person. Make them feel wanted. So Chrischelle, thanks for coming out. Like I said, it's weird that this is the episode you showed up for, as this is very anti kind of what we do here. So thank you for coming out. Did you have fun with these knuckleheads?
I did actually, and it's funny that you say that because typically my preferred campaign is the campaign with very much role play and very little combat. That's just how I like to play, and it's funny because I was supposed to be in the very first one that we had, but
Yeah.
I had ended up in the hospital and couldn't be in it, and I was so sad. And then I didn't have any sort of free space to get into another one until this one, and so I had to jump on it because I really, really wanted to play.
Good. I'm glad you came out. Like I said, if this thing kind of gets a taking, I'd love to do things like this at the end, not necessarily the Murder on the Orient Express, but just these kind of odd concepts, just to see what else you can do in this space. And like I said, thank you so much for coming out. You were amazing. Tabatha was very, very cool. The kind of busybody writer. I love it. Thank you for coming out. Welcome. We appreciate it. And let us finish up with our last passenger slayer, Andrew and
To be fair, I didn't do it. My hands are always clean.
As always, buddy, thanks for coming out. I know you've been kind of a little part of these more little concept ones, kind of on the fringes. So, like I said, I'm glad you came out, and I hope you had a good time tonight.
Yeah, I had a great time.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a super interesting person. I'm a teacher and a musician out of Ottawa, and I have been part of this channel for the last couple months. Have really enjoyed the chance to play D&D and keep occupied and meet some awesome new people. And yeah, definitely thought I knew where it was going, and then I didn't.
Okay. Cool. I will take that, because the whole time I'm like, yo, dog, they're just gonna be like, hey, it's the merchant. He's obviously the asshole. I tried my best. I thought about possibly actually making you guys roll for the role play part, and I didn't want this to turn into like little subtle clues that I felt like you needed being hidden behind dice rolls. And so it would have dragged on. I like to believe that, it only took you guys the second shot to figure it out. The rogue was kind of the red herring, just a man's menacing. And then the merchant seemed the most innocuous and the one that had kind of the best backstory. He's not retiring an adventure. He's going to see his grandson and just didn't give a shit. And so, like I said, for the millionth time, thank you everybody who came out and played tonight. I appreciate and I love you all so much for, like I said, indulging me. I'm glad that you had a good time, or at least will tell me this now so I don't go cry. So yeah, I've been Manny at GrowedUpGeek on your social medias. This is, like I said, our One Shot Wednesdays, different rotating players, new concepts as we have shown tonight, and also in support of a Dungeon Masters Guild supplement that I wrote, Esmeralda's Dossier of Dread, which I have right here. Here's the cover. 40 NPCs, everybody. Your Ravenloft campaign, I've really fallen in love with horror in D&D in the last couple of months. Between this, Enemy of My Enemy, our first episode in the series, and the Red Oasis, which got canceled last week. We just like to explore it. Red Oasis will also be set with an NPC that I created for the book. Everybody who came out and watched tonight, I know this is a weird show, especially if you watch this quite often. Thank you for sticking with us. This was a concept. I hope everybody kind of took something away from it, if not at least the idea of D&D being something to be able to tell a more complicated story than just walk in, kick down the door, and slash something. So thank you to everybody who watched tonight. We are off for at least another week on Greyhawk Lives on Sunday on our good friend the Wily Hobbit Twitch channel. We will be back next Tuesday with episode 24 of Twilight Malediction, the party finally on Oral's Island, the Frost Maiden. And then next week on this channel, Wednesday night, 7 p.m., I will be getting out of this chair and going down to one of those, as our good friend Lisa Brownwin will come in here and DM a quick 4-session version of Curse of Strahd, a little passion project for her and a way for me and my cast of the Tuesday show to finally all sit down and play together after 6 months as a group. We've brought in an amazing guest DM. We are super excited. So check us out then, and if we don't see you next Tuesday for Twilight Malediction, we'll see you next Wednesday back for our first session of 4 consecutive sessions of Curse of Strahd, leading up to our season finale, Assault on Mount Celestia, coming in August. Thank you so much to everybody who came out tonight, everybody who watched. We appreciate all my amazing players, everybody who helped me kind of put this thing together. I owe you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, and we will see you next time. Everybody have a good night. Bye-bye.